Welcome to this week's edition of the City Update. I'm your host, Mark Aaron, Multimedia Design Manager for the City of Danville. Today we're on Main Street in the heart of the River District here in the City of Danville to bring you up to speed on a new streetscape project that we'll be undertaking here in the River District in 2012. Today we're going to take you to Galileo Magnet High School, where we recently had a community meeting to talk a lot more about this project. We're going to bring you up to speed on the plans, the timetable for construction. You're also going to meet the design team from Landscape Planning and Design Associates. We're so glad to have them on board helping us with this project. They've worked with over 25 communities here in Virginia over the past 40 years and worked with communities all over the United States on projects just like the one we're undertaking here in the City of Danville. Main Street is going to be revitalized in 2012. We're going to have wider sidewalks, brick pavers installed. We've got a lot in store for the River District in 2012. We're very excited. But first off, let's take you out now to Galileo Magnet High School so you can learn a lot more about this streetscape project. You'll get a timetable for construction. You'll get to meet the design team, and they'll give you a better understanding of some of the work that they've done in the past at other communities and what you can expect to see here in the River District right here on Main Street in 2012. So let's take you out there now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is John Schmidt. I'm Vice President, Principal with Land Planning and Design. We're a landscape architecture planning firm based in Charlottesville. We have two offices, Sterling office in Charlottesville, but we're coming out of Charlottesville. Mark's setting a PowerPoint presentation, and Mark is the project manager, and he's going to lead you through the project. I'll be there for support through the whole process, but I wanted to make a couple points before we started, just to kind of set the groundwork of what we're trying to do. I think Kent and David has really introduced the project so you understand what's going on. Allison, who's here tonight, has done a wonderful job with the master planning process. She's still working with the city on the policies and procedures. So we're taking that process forward. We haven't brought formal designs tonight because we really are starting. Some of you maybe recognize this from a December meeting that Allison held. We just came just to hear. But really, this is literally our first day. We had a city meeting at 1 o'clock. We met with some of the business owners at 4 o'clock. And this is our first community meeting. So we're really here tonight to hear from you, hear your ideas. We'll show you some things we've done on other projects, and we'll come back to you with more formal designs as the project moves forward. The project will move quickly, so we do want to keep the feedback going. We want to move towards having documents ready for construction in June or July. A couple of things I did want to set is that we've been understanding his ground rules as we do the project, and Mark will go into that more detail, but I just wanted to emphasize them. For if you're a business owner, if you have questions about how the project will affect businesses downtown, a couple of things we must ensure that we do for the project is maintain on-street parking. So as the project evolves and we develop the design, we are going to maintain parking on Union and Main Street as part of this project. The configuration may change, but we will maintain that, so we're not going to eliminate it. During construction, it's critical that we maintain access to businesses. So if you go there for services or if you own a business, we will have to maintain that, and it'll be part of our documents and directions to the contractor. So we may have to adjust construction, but we'll have traffic be able to go down Main Street during construction. We also allow accesses to businesses during construction. There may be temporary access points, but we have to maintain that. That's critical. So I just wanted to make sure you understood that. But beyond that, really, we're open. We do have budget constraints, but the design is open now, and we really want to hear from you. So with no further ado, I'd like to have Mark come up and lead you through our introduction. Thank you.
There you go. Excellent. Mike is yours. So you all have to forgive me a little bit. I don't like to stand at a podium. My wife calls me a border collie. I've always kind of got to be moving, so sorry if I'm a little fidgety up here. But as John said, my name is Mark Liebreth, and I'm with Land Planning and Design. And just going to sort of kick off what we're doing about this project. Also just want to talk about we're here to listen tonight. We want to get some good input from you all and some ideas about what you want this project to look like. Go over how we're going to do this, go over some goals and objectives, make sure you understand the project area, talk a little bit about Allison's master plan, go over some precedents. We've done several of these projects before, big, small, in all parts of the state, So we're pretty familiar with how this works. I'll elaborate a little bit more on the construction, how we're going to keep businesses open, and some of our construction practices that we've used before in the past. And then I'd really like to open it up for ideas. I mean, what do you all think? What would you like this to look like? We really want to enhance the sense of place for Danville. Danville is Danville. It's not Charlottesville or D.C. or Winston-Salem. So we really have to, what is your town feeling? What's the city feeling? And how do we translate that into a successful project, a nice place along Main Street? We really have to facilitate businesses. This is about economic development. It's one portion of it. It's not the only part, but it is an important part. And if businesses close during this process, we really haven't done anything. We have to preserve the historic character. That's not to say we're going to put back historic things, but we're going to enhance it. We're going to augment it, not clash with what is downtown. We really want to announce and celebrate historic Danville, make it a special place. This is really the first thing you see coming down off the bridge or coming up from 58 traveling west. Want to increase pedestrian safety. This is about getting people around downtown safely so they want to come, linger, spend some time, walk around, go out to dinner, maybe go do a little shopping. Providing that amenity and cafe space. There are opportunities to do it. We certainly think we can enhance upon that and have a project or have an area that doesn't last till 5 o'clock. Heaven forbids it goes on till 10 maybe. We really want to see that, right? Downtown activity at nighttime would be wonderful and mitigate some of the visual distractions that are there. Again, we really want to improve upon all of these things. And you've got beautiful bones. I mean, the downtown is lovely. Great buildings, but we want to see some of these things improved upon. What's required of this? We need stakeholder involvement. Again, I don't want to project my design, my ideas on your city. I want you all to tell me, what is it? What makes it special? What do you want to see down there? We really need council involvement. I mean, this goes nowhere without the funders there and saying, yes, we approve this, we like this. We need grounded design solutions. I think we're pretty creative folks here, but at the same time, this isn't New York City. We're not going to do something really crazy just because we saw it in a magazine and we want to do it ourselves. These need to be grounded, practical solutions. We need sound engineering. I say you have one drain inlet from the top of Floyd to Memorial Street. How you don't have a whitewater river flowing down during the rain is kind of beyond me. We need to really base it on sound engineering. We need to improve your stormwater. We need to make sure all of your utilities connections are good. Use these sound engineering principles. And we need to secure support from the community. And again, this is a community project, so we need all your input. Again, the project area here on the left-hand side of the screen is Floyd, going downhill to Memorial and Craighead, and then part of Union Street, North Union, to Spring. That is the project area we're using. Phase 2 will be the 100% corner. We are not currently under contract to do that. We're going to think about it, make sure we don't do something that paints us into a corner that prohibits us from doing something in the future that we want to do. But right now, that is not in our scope of services. So just along Main Street and Union. Where I'd like to start, you've got some really, DHR, Department of Historic Resources in Virginia, has got a great library. They get some really cool pictures. And I love to start, what did it used to be? You can see this, I don't know when it is, but it said it was destroyed in 31. You can draw a lot of interesting flavor from this photograph. Here's same shot looking down the hill this time. In the 40s, you can actually see the elk right there. I thought that was kind of cool just because it was a great point of reference, So again, some nice historic photographs. We need to acknowledge that you're a tobacco town. All these mills and tobacco warehouses were here because of the tobacco industry and because of the textile mills. Why was that? Access to water, right? That really drove your industry for a long period of time. After the great presentation on the downtowner demolition, now I've got one of the hotel in its heyday. I mean, totally different, right? But nonetheless kind of cool in its own way. I can see some sort of, 1960s Corvette parked out there. Just some of the old theaters. What do you have now? Kind of dramatically different, I'd say. Some sidewalks that have been patched and cut, and you can see some utilities there. Not really great pedestrian walking environment. Again, same thing on the other side. I do like this picture just because it's great local character. I love bluegrass music, and so I love the wreck of the old 97. It's a great story for your town. We always look for a story that towns tell. When we were doing work in Newmarket, Virginia, the Battle of Newmarket was a very famous Civil War battle, fond on the hearts of the VMI boys. But, we'd be a fool not to acknowledge that, especially with, all the tourism that's related to Civil War battles. So you got this great train, theme going. Again, great local character. Everybody loves Bridge Street. Very cool. Things you also have, the great sort of terrazzo and tile work on each of these old building entrances. We need to respect that, make sure those are kept. They provide great welcome mats for the businesses. Again, we've been talking to, we really like the old iron electric poles. They used to be what carried the electric in town. That you don't see them a whole lot of places. I think they're pretty cool. We're going to look, can we save them? I'm not 100% sure we can. We're going to have to look at it. There are some limitations. They're direct bury, meaning they're in concrete. They might be tough to pull out. They've also rusted where the salt laid against the side of the uphill side. You've got some problems to saving them, but at the same time, I think they're well worth looking at reusing. They're also not in the right place right now. If we move the road in a little bit, they'll be in the wrong spot, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Allison, again, who's here tonight, I think did a great job with the master plan. You guys have all participated in that. I think it's a wonderful start to what the plan for Memorial or for what Main Street could be. And one of the great ideas that came out of this was the existing section that is currently in town is the parking, the drive lane, the center drive lane, the turn lane, and then this other drive lane, which is, I always think it's north-south, but it's more east-west. And then the park lane here. One of the great ideas that come out of the plan was removing the center turn lane. The traffic study that the city has done said you don't have enough turning movements to warrant an independent center turn lane. You just don't need it. Other than parking for deliveries, which we heard about today in the business meetings, it's not really used all that much. So by eliminating that, you can steal 12 feet of road space and now put 6 feet on either side and make a much nicer pedestrian space. So you can see, again, that's a section if you took a knife and cut through the area itself. Now, with this idea, you've got 16 feet of sidewalk, which might accommodate one row of tables for a cafe space. You'll still have parking here, maybe some opportunity for some landscaping at the intersections, maybe not, we'll see. 2 drive lanes of 12 feet, the 8 feet of parking, and the 16 feet of sidewalk. Now, what this does show, we were talking about, your lights aren't necessarily in the right place. Might be workable, might not. We'll take a look at that throughout the whole process, though. Again, the character areas, just sort of what's going on. What is the whole project area? Really is driven by this center gateway, which the 100% corner really does a nice job of addressing the gateway, getting traffic on Memorial, as well as coming across the bridge. Then you've got these smaller nodes at each of the intersections. Got some interesting opportunity for green space along this edge. Can we enhance those parking lots to screen them, to hide them a little bit? But then along this side and that side, you have the businesses. You have a different feeling. So you really have 3 or 4 things going on here, and each of those has to be treated a little bit differently. The next step of the process will be to actually draw a plan like this. We might actually draw 1 or 2 options and give you some feedback. Here's what we think it should be. Now tell us, did we do a good job or did we not? And we'll go through that whole process with all of you and come up with a good plan, hopefully. Some other projects we've done that are very similar. This is Woodstock, Virginia. That is the oldest courthouse west of the Blue Ridge Mountains. 1791 is when that courthouse was constructed. We did this job. We basically took out in this. We actually did take out a row of parking to extend the court. It's now a town plaza used for all sorts of town events. I went to a lovely Halloween party there with my boys, which was fabulous, and had a great time. A lot of brick at the intersection. We incorporated Pennsylvania bluestone to extend the forecourt of the old courthouse out. A couple other things we've done. We added a sculpture here. This was Peter Muhlenberg. He was a preacher in the Revolutionary War. Sort of a local character, threw off his vestments to reveal his militia uniform during the middle of a sermon and marched out of the church. Good local character. We want to incorporate that. Incorporate local character. They have a Swiss Guard on top of the weather vane. How a Swiss Guard ended up on top of the weather vane in Newmarket, or in Woodstock, I have no idea. But we took that same thing and cut it out and did some custom work to some stock light fixtures, and now they've got the only light fixtures with a Swiss Guard inside. It was a really easy thing to do, but again, it adds that local flavor. This undergrounded some electricity, we redid some traffic signals, have a little side alley here. This is where all the historic lawyers' offices used to be way back in the day. Again, talking about the local flavor, we etched into each of these blocks, standard dimensional stone, the names of all of the towns in Shenandoah County. Woodstock is the town seat, or the county seat, so each town was acknowledged with a fun fact about them, as well as the year it was chartered. We also did a bronze plaque of each of the towns, so you could get an idea of where it is. But it's not that expensive to do. Adds a nice flavor. You can see it was a pretty nice project. Project we just finished in Newmarket, Virginia. It didn't have the budget that some of them do, that some of our other projects do, so we incorporated just standard concrete in a different scoring pattern with unit pavers, with actually brick pavers as well. It's a way to mix materials so that it's not all homogeneous, yet at the same time we stretched our dollar a little bit farther there. And then by doing simple things, adding planters, boy, we've really sort of livened it up a little bit. I think another great example is Lynchburg. It's the same. You've got the same situation. I said we want to make it special. Yet, boy, you want to look. I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. You've got a river town with steep slopes, mill buildings. It's pretty darn similar in a lot of ways. And they've done great things to their downtown. I take my boys to that children's museum. We drive an hour and a half just for that because they love that place. But, cobble streets, brick sidewalks, that sort of thing. Great example. This is a plaza we did at James City County. This is actually Jamestown Foundation, where the state facility is. So an entry plaza, what the 100% corner might be with a nice fountain. Just a funny anecdote about this. They had 50 flags for each of the states. When we're talking about trying to save things, it was actually less expensive to rip them down and put in new than rather to save and protect during construction. So again, we're going to try to be practical about this. We have to look at dollars and cents too. I'm going to shift gears a little bit slightly here and talk about construction and phasing. Things we have to do during construction. We have to keep access to businesses. We can't shut down the road for 4 months or 2 months. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work with businesses. People have to get there. So we try to limit the amount of demolition that can be done in any one period of time. The contractor can't rip up 1,600 linear feet of sidewalk right now and then put it, and then put back the tail end of it 4 months later. That's just not the way we plan things out. We need to make sure we provide temporary facilities, make sure we have ramps to front doors. A cheap and easy thing we did before in another town, we bought industrial mats, the large industrial mats like you see at restaurants. Pretty darn cheap thing to do, but it kept the dust down in buildings, so people could wipe their feet before they went in and kept that dust on the street. We need to make sure the contractor provides a critical path schedule so that we can say he's going to be or she's going to be in this block or in front of this building at this time. The length of construction is going to be 2 weeks, and then they'll be done and you move on. So that critical path schedule is very important. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, though. Construction's messy. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. So it's going to be an inconvenience, but we try to limit that inconvenience to as short a time and to keep it as tolerable as possible. Another thing we've talked about doing during this project, you do have an excessively wide street right now. So you could actually take one side of the street, eliminate parking temporarily, and make it 2 lanes. Work could be going on this side of the street then. That keeps your construction traffic, that keeps the traffic going through, so that you flip traffic now to the other side of the street. This side's complete. People are driving on this side. Now construction is happening on this side of the street. And then you end up with the finished product. So it's a way to keep traffic through the project area. I think it's very doable here, and it only has to really be a block at a time, whatever block they're working in. As Kent mentioned, 2.8 is our budget right now. You get half of it in grant money, so it's like getting something for 50%, right? Where we are in the project, obviously we're just kickoff today. Survey and base mapping is 90% complete. The city is doing that in-house. They've done a very nice job. We're going to work now through mid-February on a preliminary plan. We'll come back to you. We'll roll it out on the table, probably be 10 feet long. And we'll go through it piece by piece, and we'll just talk about what you like and what you don't like. We'll go from there, revise that, and then, again, present it. Make sure we've done it correctly. Work on construction drawings from there, and probably bid the project in June-ish for a July, August construction. It's a pretty aggressive time schedule. We might miss it a little bit here and there, but I think we've laid out a pretty good path for this is doable.
Well, if you'd like more information on the Streetscape project here in the River District, feel free to log on to our website, danville-va.gov, and there's a link there to the River District where you can learn a lot more about all the projects and happenings right here in the district, or feel free to call the office of the city manager, 799-5100. So until next week, have a great day.